I've been dreaming all night, bringing me some inspiration. Never meant to love no one, but baby.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you how I take photos at a beach that is relatively full of people, how I avoid them, how I take photos so it looks like it's still nice and empty and abandoned and wild and all this good stuff. Before we get into this video, please make sure to check out my Instagram first. I post some really good stuff in there. And secondly, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the little bell button to not miss any of my future videos. And let's get right into it. Psst. You all know what's coming. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in platform that will help you make your dream website, portfolio, or an online shop become a reality. Squarespace has hundreds of beautiful templates, so you will definitely find something that suits you and your personal style. You can build a professional portfolio website in a matter of hours, and you will be able to customize it every step of the way. So it's so you that nobody can deny it's not. As we all know, social media presence is power, and with Squarespace, you'll be able to auto-post all your content to Twitter, Facebook, or Tumblr with proper tags and descriptions. Finally, Squarespace helps you with the marketing. They help you with SEO, as well as some plugins for Instagram stories and so on, as well as share buttons, so your followers can give you some juicy shoutouts on their social media. If that sounds like something you'd like to try, make sure to go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And once you're ready to go, use my code squarespace.com/Anita to receive 10% off your first purchase.
Trying to keep my focus right. Every glimpse of you deserts me.
Okay, so we're here at the beach. This is our first scene. It's a bit busy. It's a bit busier than I anticipated. But yeah, we're shooting. It's kind of closer to sunset. It's around 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. And this is our first look here. So just using some nice natural light. Nice diffused light. Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful.
And
So today I want to give you a few tips on how to make the beach look like there is no people around, even if there is. For this particular shoot, I was shooting in the afternoon, which I don't usually do. I usually start first thing in the morning, because I find first thing first, the weather is a bit more forgiving in the morning usually. It's not as hot. You have a bit more playroom in terms of the light, because you can always stay up longer if you want to. You know, if you're shooting towards the sunset and the sun is gone, it's just gone. That's it. And I also find that there isn't that many people at 7 o'clock in the morning at the beach. They usually start coming in like 10, 11 o'clock. So shooting very early is always a good idea. However, for this particular shoot, there was not an option like that, because we started shooting in the afternoon and we had to deal with quite a lot of people being in the shot. Beautiful. Yeah, that's gorgeous. So I'm getting the nice little greenery in the background as well, which I think is very nice. We're getting some really nice afternoon light. Obviously, like, the biggest issue now is just to try and avoid all the crowds. Yeah, that's beautiful. So we're just getting like a really nice soft backlight. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Beautiful. Yes. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's much better. Oh, wow. Oh, look at this. Look at the splash.
Oh, wow.
So we're getting some really nice splash in the background, very cinematic. Might get drowned, but beautiful. Gorgeous. All the photos in today's video were edited using the Studio Lightroom preset pack that I have on my website. Check it out in the description below. You can also get 10% off. The link is going to be there. And I just want to say thank you for all your support, because buying the presets really helps me and my channel. It helps me push out the videos for you and run them, especially in those difficult times. So I just want to send you big love, and let's continue with the video. Very nice. Nice. It's very interesting how, depending on the angles, I can pretty much make this place look completely abandoned with no people and nothing. It just looks like she's at this like abandoned beach somewhere in Thailand instead of Padang in Bali. There we we go here.
What did you expect now? That you feel better?
First thing first, when I shoot in a busy location, I always try and assess where is the least busiest for us to be, to set up, to have our stuff, and then to shoot as well. There's usually clumps of the beach where you can kind of see where there's a bit less people and so on. It's always very helpful, so I always head there. I also make sure that I always have some sort of rocks or some sort of an interesting background for my model. So instead of maybe shooting towards where all the people are, I will find a bit of a rock formation and then have the water behind us, because usually there won't be that many people if the water is deep and if there's waves and so on. So I always try and maybe shoot backlit even, because, you know, the sun in the afternoon usually comes from behind, you know, kind of towards the beach. So you will have to shoot backlit. But if you have a bit of a rock to maybe hide behind and diffuse the light that way, that's always a good idea. We're just working towards, I don't think there's going to be much of a sunset or golden hour. It's been pretty rainy all day. So I think the chances it's gonna be pretty. So I'm just shooting from the backlit here. That's really nice. Yeah, so we're getting some nice direct sunlight here. I have to go up on my beautiful. Gorgeous. Yeah, that's really nice. I'm getting like a really lovely side light. That's really nice. Yeah, I love that. That's really nice. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm just trying to kind of shoot in a way that it cuts her out, because the sun is still a bit high. So I was just like hoping to get it kind of behind her head, but it's still way too high to do that. Yeah, that's beautiful. Even when you're like that, looking down and just like brushing through your hair. Yeah, exactly. So at the moment, I think the main issue is the fact that we have very little beach left. And there's so many people around. There's people coming in and out. And like, you know, when you do this kind of shoots, usually you want to make it look like it's an abandoned location in the middle of wilderness. And when there's so many people around, it's kind of hard to achieve. So at the moment, we're just kind of trying to find little bits of, you know, break between people. Another thing that I usually do is I look for bits of sand that are not as busy. With people, I always look if there's any patches or if there's clumps of people that are a bit less busy than the others, and I will usually shoot in that direction. I always make sure that I use my model and her body to basically block out the people as well. I will usually put her in front of my camera. I will obviously use a shallow depth of field, something like 2.8 for example for my lens, because I use the 24 to 70 2.8, so there is no way of going lower. But if you're shooting on like 1.4, that's even better. And I always find that shooting upwards towards the sky also helps as well, because if she's in the foreground and I'm kind of pointing my camera up a bit, that clears out the background quite a lot. Obviously in this case you will have the sky in the shot and not necessarily the beach, so it might be a bit difficult. But if she's sitting down on the ground, for example, that always helps. Worst case scenario, I will always just get the model to go into the water and just maybe take some photos there, because as I mentioned before, there is a bigger chance of having less people in the water. I never usually shoot towards the beach either, because I find, I don't know, it's just not that special. I usually like to, you know, have any natural kind of elements like the rocks, like the water, having some water splashes in the shot. As I said, always looking for little elements at the beach that are a bit more secluded or look like they're secluded. As you see in this video, there was so many people there, and we still managed to get some shots where it basically looked like we were pretty much alone at the beach. Another thing is if you have a lot of people walking around and so on, what I would always try and do is just get little gaps in time of where there isn't as many people walking around or standing up and so on. Sometimes you have to have good timing, and that kind of applies the same to, you know, taking photos at the street and so on. If you want to make the street look empty, you kind of have to time yourself and take photos in between when the car goes and when the people go and so on. So this is definitely something that I do all the time when I take those kind of photos. It's obviously not ideal. It's not something that I love doing. I would way rather have just an empty beach and shoot there. But if there is a situation like that, there's nothing else I can do. So this is how I go about editing people out of my photos if they do happen to be in them and I don't want them there. I usually just use a super simple stamp tool method. I'm not super pro at it because I don't really remove it much, but it usually works with the backgrounds that I usually need. So what I do is I grab the stamp tool, I clone right next to the subject, and I just keep going very small areas at the time, and I keep reselecting as I go up towards the subject because it makes it look way more natural. So this is a little before and after, as you can see. And then for the second example, because there is like a leg in between the area and it is much sharper, what I do is I usually grab the pen tool and I do like a very precise selection. You can always do it with a magic wand tool as well, but I find with this one I have a bit more control and it's usually pretty soothing to just do it. So I just click around the area. I select the feather at 3 just to make sure that I don't have any harsh edges, and then I do it pretty much exactly the same. So I start at the bottom and I go up towards the legs just to cover a tiny bit, and then as soon as I get into the water area, I just grab the water sample from the other side of my model because it is pretty similar, and I just go around, you know, just go to town and just fill up the area that I selected. And this way I don't have to worry about any sharp edges. Everything is super nice and clean and it just looks really good. Okay guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, Elena, for letting me throw you into the water. I had fun. If you did like this video, make sure to check her out. I'm going to link her down below. And if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and I will see you guys next time.